only God can make a man. If God is going to make a man in his own image and in his own likeness, God is the originator and the original. He's going to make a man as a prototype or a copy of himself.
Make all men and boys join the FOI. But the second part is, and train them fast and make them brave fighters.
When we're in battle, you have to have the mind that whomever is facing you, whomever you are facing, destruction is for them. Because as we walk in peace, and fear will not prevail.
You fight to the death. Cause the Muslims gonna fight. We ain't got no gun, but we got a God and we are gonna fight.
And I gotta shout to my brother FOI. I've been before you for 44 years without my teacher, and nothing happened to me on my walks with my brother. And I damn sure have a lot of strong souls.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a man that wanted to strengthen the family, because if there is no strong family, there can be no strong people or nation. If we want a strong nation, then we must produce strong men and women with strong commitment to each other through the institution of marriage.
Any man that is not producing is not living up to the nature in which he's created. Every one of you is a producer. Very conscious about it.
The value of an FOI that has submitted his will to do the will of God and is now an active person in the mission of saving our people. Do you know how valuable you are?
You gotta want it. You gotta desire to be a Muslim. You can't window dress this. You can't say it from your lips. You gotta want it with all of your heart, all of your mind, all of your soul and strength.
Our God, Master Farad Muhammad, and his Christ. We don't have no spook God. He's alive, and our God is real.
Man is man without God.
Yes, sir.
But when man reconnects to God, and the wisdom of God is brought back to man, there is no more man, there is only God.
Welcome. We'd like to welcome you to the 10,000 Fearless podcast here at the Atlanta Ark. Well, we like to open in the name of Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, raised from amongst us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Christ, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Messiah in our midst. We'd like to greet you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. We'd also like to greet you and thank the Southern Regional Representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the National Director of the 10,000 Fearless, Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad. Please give him a round of applause. All of that hard work made all of this possible. Well, family, today we're here and we're going to be discussing fueling the warrior with some warriors. So if everybody introduce yourself from right to left.
Assalamu alaikum. I go by, my name is Tyree Muhammad. I go by Burbage on the socials, tfv.tv, on all social platforms. I am a 7th degree black belt in the martial science, King Wing Daiba.
All right, I am Kwame Muhammad. I am a 7th degree black belt as well of the science, King Wing Daiba.
To his son, I'm Abdul Sharif Muhammad. I'm a 10th degree great grandmaster in the same science.
Okay, for some reason, all of a sudden, I just feel safe. I just want to start a fight for no reason. But nevertheless, so it is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and people don't really understand that we are FOI and that we must be warriors clearly, but we also have to be saints and scholars. And we're amongst some warriors and some saints and scholars today. And we want to just see what their sojourn's been like, what their journey's been like, and those who desire to be what you all are, with the work that you all have put in to get where you are. So we just want to hear some of your stories and some of your testimonies as it relates to fueling the warrior. So physically, what does it take to be a warrior, and how does that coincide with how to eat the live? Anybody?
Brother Tim Mack?
Well, first I thank Allah for appearing to us in person, Master Prophet Muhammad, and raising up the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. If it wasn't for the Honorable Louis Farrakhan speaking, I never would have started learning martial arts. I always wanted to learn it, but coming up out of a big family, didn't have the finances to put anybody into learning it. And coming into the Nation of Islam, I'm blessed to get introduced to Brother Sabir, which is known in the martial arts world as Steve Sanders, now Steve Muhammad. So I got a chance to start training with him at age 18. And I've been training now with him for about 37 years in the martial science. So physically, I mean, basically, you got to condition yourself. Our science is what we consider a full and complete science because it's rooted in Islam. It's rooted in the spirituality. It's rooted in the physicality. It's rooted in how to eat, and it's rooted into providing a substance for your family in order to power yourself. If I had to sum it up far as the physical is concerned, Brother Sabir always taught us to try to get you a workout regimen that you can do for the rest of your life. And it will keep you. A lot of times we get off balance and we don't stay with that. But I remember seeing him when we worked for a particular entertainer for a number of years, but he would get up in the morning and do the same routine. There's always some jump jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, and you use your own body weight, and it just conditions you to be able to be steadfast in that in which you are trying to accomplish. So the physical aspect is really just disciplining yourself in some form of exercise to start off, because the healthier you are, the more you're able to comprehend and also deliver this science.
Great. I like that. The more physically fit you are, the better you're able to comprehend and deliver the science. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, well, that's a great answer for a physical warrior. Now, what about a spiritual warrior?
So, all praise due to Allah first. Name a lot of the next most merciful. That when it says no God without came first. That's for Muhammad. Thank you for raising up one from among us. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, duplicating himself within the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thank him for proving that he was no fluke, and it was no fluke by doing it yet again. But the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's what we would expect from spiritual warrior.
Praise be to Allah. When it comes to being a warrior, it's in large part spiritual and mental, more so than it is physical. Once you can learn these techniques, you can practice these techniques, but if you don't have it in you to be a warrior, no amount of techniques is gonna make that. It's gonna make that for you. And as my father was saying, our teachings are grounded within Islam. So there is no separating the spirituality from this particular martial science. And really, when you study martial science at its root, most all martial science is founded upon some form of spirituality that drives the person or the warrior uh, to mastery of the science. Ours being Islam, where the Islam is rooted so within the it's so deeply embedded within the DNA, if you will, of this science, to where it was through Islam that Brother Procedural Sabir, was able to take what it was that he learned from his teacher and multiply on it and make it the martial science that it is now. It was through the supreme wisdom lessons of learning who the black man is and how the black man is God, and how God is, as the Quran says, Rabbil Alameen, the nourisher, one who perfects a thing and takes a thing stage after stage, degree after degree, until it reaches its eventual perfection. So he knew that he is a God, and he knew that the fighting science is what it is that he wanted to do. And he knew that through these teachings and the understanding of these teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that he has the ability to do whatever it is that he wants to do to a perfect degree, if he strives at it and strives for it. And so with martial arts, he knows that, and he teaches us that we have the ability to not just fight well, but to fight like a God. And you have the ability to do anything that you work towards like a God. And it's through that just base, just to make it short, that particular base that you have the ability, because you're made in the image and likeness of God, to do anything like a God. That particular base is the foundation and root for which we approach the martial science and approach being a warrior. We don't want to just be a good fighter. We don't want to just be a good warrior. We want to be a warrior like God. We want to fight like God.
Love it. I love it. Now we got the physical, we got the spiritual. What is the mental warrior? How does the mental warrior look at it?
Well, so glad you asked that. It's like possibly the most important question you could ask today.
Really?
So I take honor, privilege of answering this here question. And I thank them for laying the foundation. And you're doing an excellent job as a host. So,
I'm gonna have to have you back.
we definitely want to thank Allah who appears in the person of Master Muhammad. We'd like to thank the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for enduring what he endured. Lord knows going to jail not once, but a few times ain't fun. Especially when the government tells you you're only going to go to jail just so we can get other people to go to the military. That's just crazy. So you did nothing wrong. But hey, we're going to take good care of you. Crazy work, But you got to have a strong mentality, a strong mental, if you're going to be in those types of situations.
Okay.
We'd also like to thank the Mr. Farrakhan, because without him, we wouldn't actually have this science. This is a deeply spiritual as well as mental and physical science. Grandpa Sabir, C. Joe Sabir Muhammad, created this, as my brother said, using the lessons he learned in the Supreme Wisdom.
Okay.
And as with anything, this can be mastered in no limit of time. For those that are looking to become warriors and whatnot. Generally, 2 years. I mean, that technically is the limit, but it can be done faster with more consistency. To answer your question, right? What is the mentality need, or just the overall mental? How does that contribute to fighting? A couple examples, real quick. I'm trying to make it brief. So you have what I would call mental fighters, like Floyd Mayweather. He's very, very technical. He gets in, and he's able to get in, endure his 36 minutes, and come out without much bodily impact, because he's very technical. He gets in, he does what he's supposed to do, and he understands it's a game and not, as he calls it, a bare knuckle brawl. Whereas you have certain physical fighters, such as a Mike Tyson, who understands, let me get in there, give it the absolute best I can, and in 4 rounds, we can get this done soon. Difference is, the type of wear and tear you take on the body. Muhammad Ali with his rope-a-dope, he took a lot of wear and tear, and as a result, experience the physical illnesses that he did later on in life. So when it comes to mentality, there's a lot that goes into it. And particularly, I'll touch on two parts. One is the technical side. If you can really keep your mental composure mixed with the training, you can't skip the training. And then if you are blessed to have the spiritual backing, then you can multiply that and have a one hell of a fight. And it actually will be done a lot sooner because you're keeping your composure. A lot of people think that if I get upset, I'm going to magically get stronger. I'm going to magically connect all my punches and kicks. Most people don't even kick. So now you're already missing 50% of what your body can do because you only believe in punching. And then you don't even use your full body because you just believe in punching. So you have no real connection or knowledge of what your elbows can do, even what your shoulder can do, which is quite phenomenal. Some of the things your shoulder can do. Yeah, and so you want to make sure when it comes to mentally fighting that you keep your composure. We just want to say clearly on this platform, you will never, there is no such thing, and particularly with us as being Muslims, we sometimes mix up Allahu Akbar with Shazam. And it don't work that way. You're not going to get no magical powers if you don't go ahead and put forth the effort. So you want to make sure that you give a lot of stuff. One thing that we say in these teachings is that Allah is the multiplier. We put that one behind us and we are magnified tenfold. Well, why not give him something so good, so bountiful that when he comes behind you to support it, you multiply it by like a whole lot. If you're going to multiply anyways, Quran says that you could put to flight 10, but because you are afraid, you'll put to flight 2. So, you just lost. That's 8 other heads you could have got fighting these devils if you was to have no fear, right? Mentality, 10,000 fearless, and just have the right attitude going into this thing, knowing that my training is sufficient and that my God is sufficient. So that's just one thing on the mental side. The second thing on the mental side is that when you look at how your mind works in these fights, and to realize that everything is a fight, especially if you don't believe, you just got to watch the Nature Channel. One thing that's pretty interesting is that if you go look on, it's actually one on YouTube. I don't remember the name of it, but did you know that plants fight? What? Some plants fight. It's the longest fight in the world because, they got to do the time lapse, but the vines can actually grow. And if a certain plant, a competitor plant, is growing in the forest next to another plant and the resources in the soil become limited, or the water and just different things that they need, they'll actually spend the next 10 years weaving around each other and choking each other out until one dies. And then you can actually take the nutrients from that one onto yourself. So that just goes to show that one thing in life that we have to realize, whether we like it or not, everything is a fight. Everything is a battle. And that Allah created this thing to not be wasted. So life feeds death like death feeds life. Last thing I'll say on that point is that when we're in this thing, the Quran says fighting is prescribed for, but fight in the best manner and never be the aggressor. So we are blessed, I believe, to be in Grandpa Severe's martial science, the BKF, Black Pride Federation, also known as Kin Wing Daiba, because you get that discipline very, very early. One thing about this particular science in terms of mentality is the built-in barriers. And really, you have to actually be a certain age before you can even join, to even start learning. Because
What's that age?
that age, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to be 6, right?
Well, it depends. It depends on who's teaching. I started teaching them too. So,
but we didn't get to the class.
But these are your children.
Yeah, well, you get to the organized class.
we're going 6.
6, okay.
So you got to be 6, right? You got to be potty trained. You got to have certain discipline. And then also, just because you're in, and like we said earlier, when you do your 2 years, you should be able to be proficient enough to demonstrate it at a black belt level. They refuse to give you black belts until you can actually not only demonstrate it in terms of the physical proficiency, but you have to demonstrate discipline as well. So you can't be just a wild 16-year-old black belt bully. You'll just stay brown forever until he's ready to give you your black belt, because one of the last tests is not just your physical proficiency, but your discipline, which goes back to mental.
So before we move on, he made a comment earlier in reference to, I think it was homework. I really understand how brothers be able took the teaching that I relied on, and that's what developed the science. Now he had already started developing the science. Elevated after he got the teaching that I relied on. It somewhat changed or metamorphed into where we are now. He has 4 generations, and if you look at all of his generations, the generations after he accepted Islam are somewhat different than the very first generation. His second generation is when he started coming into Islam. His third generation, he was well into Islam. Now his fourth generation, we've been here for these years. I'm considered one of his third generation. So my children are his third generation martial artist, but we have a generation before us who was getting him when he first got into Islam. And then his first generation, they knew him when he was in the world. So it's a different mentality. And if you talk to anybody from those different generations, if the first generation students had not been still coming around him during the second generation, during the third generation, they're stuck in the first generation. I'm talking. His second generation, those who were there who didn't come around, they're stuck in the second. Those who were in the third, some of them get stuck in the third and they don't move to the fourth. Because as he has matured in life lessons, his understanding of fighting has changed and it is matured. We see a lot of people in different sizes. We don't take anything from anybody. That's why we have a saying that our science is second to none. And we don't brag and say we're the best, and we don't say that we're the worst. We say we're second to none. And what makes us second to none is, number one, our faith and belief that Allah is always going to come to our aid. So if Allah is going to come to our aid, we can't be defeated. Yeah, right? You can't be defeated if Allah got your back. So when we believe like that and we practice like that, I mean, another saying, and I practice too hard, too long for somebody to come and beat my backside. Right, it just ain't happen. You got to really put it in. Now, we age at a certain age, and you want to get no 70-year-old man fighting no 25-year-old man. I mean, the endurance level's not there. But I'll say that the knowledge is still there. So if he don't come correct, he may think he's gonna go, for a long period of time, and it's like, nah, you know what? I know my age, and I got to get this thing done real quick. So I thank Allah for Brother Sabir's knowledge because he was able to teach us how to fight, believe in Allah without breaking up a whole bunch of bones. Because there's a lot of students, they go through their years of martial arts and they break bones, get punctured eyes, bruised, everything. And then they do things in such a way in which a lot of instructors do it. I was done that way, so I'm going to do it to you.
You like that, right?
And Brother Sabir said, I've been through that. Like, the messenger said to the minister, I've been through this, so you don't have to go through. The ministers, I've been through that, so y'all don't have to go through it. So I'm thankful to Allah that Brother Sabir got all of the broken bones, busted lips, all of that stuff, so that we didn't have to do that. Because regardless of what people think, this body wasn't made for trauma.
Right.
And you could abuse it, you can break boards, break bricks, and all that stuff, but you're gonna answer later on in your life. When you're supposed to be in the twilight of your life, relaxing, now you're sitting there taking all kind of pain medication because your elbows and your forearms, your shins, you got arthritis because you done broke everything. So I'm thankful to Allah that I didn't have to break no bones of my own. I broke my opponent's bone.
And I want to say this because I wanted to kind of put all this into perspective. Spiritually, we come from the warrior God. Master Farah Muhammad is the architect of what they call Armageddon. He actually is the God that took on the challenge to rid this world of the devil. So he's a fighter in his conception, right? Just off of that. So all of us who are in submission to his mission got to be a fighter. You got to be a fighter at some level, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual, whatever level you fight on. That's why some brothers. I remember it was a time when I came into mosque. They used to call me Fighting Richard, right? Because I always got to fight. And there was one of our great brothers who he's definitely one of our Ink Pen Warriors. He used to call us goons. And y'all like Muslims, man. Y'all like some Muslim hoodlums. Like, no, brother. You know, this just we doing our part. You go to college and you do your part. But I said that to say everybody have a part to play. Absolutely. Everybody have a part to play. And when you say that Cedro actually went into the teachings to perfect the teaching, perfect his style, right? Or to enhance his style, I think the language you use. You got to think, if you're eating to live, you're thinking faster. Supreme Wisdom, we think average what? 24 billion miles a second. One of the first things that really fascinated me about Cedro is that he said that we can fight at the speed of thought. Brother, I almost had to go sit in the car after the class because that just fascinated me. Can anybody share an experience where you were fighting at the speed of thought? And for the sake of our law, anything that's said on the podcast is simply fiction. No, but I got the back, but I already.
Educational purposes.
Educational purpose. So,
did you want?
No, he can't talk about his fight, and he gets into more fight.
I tell you what, we'll go to break, and we're going to decide what we can tell, what we can't. We'll call our lawyers, so we can see what we can tell and what we can't. And after the break, we'll go into the story.
Mr. Muhammad, one of the things that the press has commented upon regarding your religion is the training of some of the followers in karate and judo. This seems to frighten many people. They have called your bodyguards stormtroopers, as I recall in the press.
Well, we can't.
Not that they were stormtroopers, but they appeared to be like that.
We can't stop people from calling us whatever they want.
But why is there an emphasis on training boys to use karate and judo, which are so violent in nature?
Well, I think we see it being taught and trained by your people too. They are trained in it. I see them training, and I see their actions and everything. And why should not we train some way to try and protect our own self when that we have no arms whatsoever?
You carry no arms.
No, sir.
And you teach the boys karate and judo for self-defense. Is that the point you want to make?
Exercise is a kind of a thing that is good to exercise a man's body.
Do you believe in nonviolence, the nonviolence theory?
I believe in the teachings of the Holy Quran in that respect, that to never to be the aggressor.
Sisters, you don't let no man take from you what you don't wish to give. Now you have to fight for your dignity. Don't let no man, I don't care if he put a gun to your head. He wants from you what you don't want to give. Kill him. Kill him. But say Allahu Akbar. And then strike with that power. And I guarantee you his knees will buckle. If he come near you with a penis, cut it off. Yes, sir. Cut his throat. Won't give him nothing. Yes, sir. But death. Yes, sir. Because that's what a rapist deserves. Yes, sir. You see my sisters standing around me. They are my support. They are soldiers, willing at any time to give their lives for Allah's sake and righteousness. It is time that women all over the world are recognized for that which God has put in them for the whole world. Never again shall we walk with our women behind us. Never again shall we permit women to be disrespected and dishonored in any society here or anywhere else on the earth. It is the time that Almighty God wants women to take their rightful place, and this is why this world is on its way to hell. It is because it has not respected the mother of civilization.
We want to acquaint you today with your divinity and then call on you to be yourself.
Okay, so to get off the line with the attorney, got some legal backing. Make sure you change all names to protect the guilty. All right, tell us about this fighting at the speed of thought.
Well, you know, our teacher, Cjo Sophia, teaches us that through use of peripheral vision, you can make movements appear slow. And so, I mean, we've all had that moment where we was, you know, might have been writing something or doing something, and then a pen drops or something, and without thinking, we hurry up and we snatch it and we grab it. And we don't even, some of us are not cognizant of what that is or why we were able to move that fast without thinking about it. But it's because you saw it. You did see it. It just wasn't direct sight. It was out of your peripheral vision. And so just, I mean, in personal experience, when you grow up in a warrior family, a family full of warriors, battling with the vicissitudes of pubescent life, you know, you tend to butt heads. That's two gods can't exist in the same place at one time sometimes, you know? Sometimes. And so, you know, me and my brother have had our feats or whatnot and our times. It's all love though now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
But when we were younger, we used to get at it as young boys do, especially when you coming up, when you train fighting. You gotta, if fighting is what you learn first, then control is what you have to learn second.
First law is motion.
Right. Second law, we just got going, and then put the control thing as we got older. But there was time periods where we would get going, and I just remember a specific time period where, not to get too much into details, but you know, I got bro heated, you know, to a point where, speaking about that mental that he was talking about, where if your mental is not where it needs to be and you're not in control of your mental, then you're not going to be able to be in control of your body. And so you may be throwing these things, you know, thinking that you're about to connect with something. But if you're with somebody who's skilled and who is genuinely concerned and interested in not connecting with that, then you'll find yourself only connecting with air. And so, you know, we were having our little dispute. And so, you know, he was coming and he was throwing them things, you know, like he was trying to put my head, and I wasn't interested in going through the wall. And so I remember in that moment, I literally felt the power of the blows that he was hitting, and I never got hit though at all with it. But I would move and I would feel the power and I would see the results of the power to the wall. But I know that in that moment though, and he was throwing a barrage of blows. But I mean, you would have thought it was a Neo.
It was quite a lot. It was
a barrage of blows. But at the time that I saw it, all of it was appearing slow because my training had kicked in. And we have a saying, you know, that in the heat of battle, you rely on your training. So if you've done no training, in the heat of battle, you'll have nothing to rely on. And in that battle was very hot. The heat of that was very hot. And I wasn't interested in connecting with
I was trying to escort you to a lot, bro.
I was able to see everything. I don't know if it was the speed of thought, but it was definitely the speed it needed to be. So I was able to see it and shake and slip everything to the point where he's hitting in a place where I'm not anymore, and I slipped.
Actually, yeah, it was
And,
like a corner.
Yeah, I was in a corner.
It was a radical corner, a real corner.
He was coming, and I'm slipping.
I was coming with the force of the law.
And I slipped, and then I slide out, and I got from around there.
Untouched. You didn't get touched at all.
And thank a lot for
Your mom had jumped early.
yeah, that was
from work.
yeah, that was that one. But by the grace of Allah, nobody got injured. It was
Yeah.
just one of those moments.
Fun fact, actually, they say that
When I got home.
they say that men get the grown men strength, right? But actually, some women get some grown men strength too. Because I ain't never known her to be that strong. She's straight locked me
They
up.
call that mother strength.
That's me. I didn't know they existed.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna say this in front of the entire world. Joe Jackson, one of my favorite people in the world, because all of his children were successful. Brother, as much as we think, Brother C. Joe, I have to give you your flowers while you live, that your children will take on your religion and be proficient at it. That is, you know how hard that is? That's a hard task to take. So I want to give you your flowers while you live on that, brother.
I give Miss flowers and a couple of head nods every day. Every day I give my ice pack. I don't just let them age gracefully. No, you have to beat them up to keep them going.
They try.
And
For years, I've had to. When Brother Sabir, when he moved and came to Georgia, I've been fighting these jokers, man. They dirty.
Fighting is like
double team me all the
learning another
time.
language.
It kept my skills up.
It's like learning another language, full immersion. You walk past somebody straight up this and just send it on.
I want to say this. I think that you all probably need to eat more Navy beans or something. I don't know what would it take to calm y'all down, but it seems
celery. That's what they mean.
You can't listen to us. You can't even understand. It just feels like a fight about to break out in the podcast.
We stay warrior ready. TTG, train to go.
There you go.
Navy beans is only gonna make me go up some more.
He said a comment. He was saying how when I think he started motion, started fighting, then you got the discipline and control later on. Now, they really, they tried to do what little bit of fights they could do when I wasn't there, when they mom wasn't there. But they ain't really had no real major fights. And one of the main reasons why I didn't let them fight is, like me and my brothers, we fought. We hit each other with sticks, and bats, and threw rocks at each other. But I wouldn't let them fight because we did street fighting when I was growing up. They had trained fight. They knew to hit bone on bone. I ain't know nothing about bone on bone. They know where to hit, how to break this. And I'm like, man, look, we ain't got no medical insurance, so y'all.
They can really harm you.
Yeah, y'all better not be fighting because, regardless of what, you might win the fight. When you get back home, you might be in pain and some more pain will come. Now I gotta pay some daggone money that I don't have. So I wouldn't let them fight because they had good skills from being just young children. Like I said, I started training all of my children at 2 years old. So I taught them how to stomp. I would lay on the floor and let them stomp. No, you raising your leg wrong. You kick it. No, you gotta bring your knee up, So they knew from, young people, in order to send a kick out, the best way to send a kick out is raise the knee because you have more control. So regardless whether it's going to be a ball kick, roundhouse, spinning back, kick, heel thrust, whatever it's going to be, the leg has to come up first, and then you send it out. You have control. A lot of people, when they do their kicks, they bring them right from where they at. Now, Thai boxers have developed how to bring that and just sling that kick with some power. Unfortunately, we're not Thai boxers. We got some of that movement, but we don't embrace the fullness of a Thai boxer. So we put all of those different things together. We put Kempo, Wing Chun, Tai Chi, and boxing all together to formulate our science. So in dealing with them as young boys, in the world, I was gonna let them jokers fight each other. Man, had me going to the daggone hospital.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. So I always ask every guest about their how to eat to live experience, right? I need a how to eat to live testimony for the show. Somebody give me something.
I can really talk about all three there, but really,
I thought you'll be back next week.
Okay.
I'll blaze in a,
I do, I got money. Okay, I'll talk about mine. So basically, during the way we have other aspects of this here science, and part of it is what he calls 4 laws. That's your spiritual law, physical law, your dietary law, and spiritual fitness law. There we go. Good. Now, on the dietary law, it's me and him been trying to really master this thing the whole time, and not just the dietary law, but all 4 laws, like really trying to live like a 24-hour day with the laws mastered. That's been a challenge in and of itself because of the aspects of life and growing up that you really don't know, because who you are is different at 18, which is crazy because it's different at 21, different at 25, and we're not yet 30, but inshallah we'll make it. But when it comes to the dietary portion of it, we read this book quite literally, almost as a family, every year, once a year. So we don't necessarily do book 1 and 2, which you can kind of just pick one, and we talk about it throughout the time. But my personal testimony with doing it is actually, I got 2 personal testimonies. One, my personal testimony is trying out different foods. One thing that I personally, and we'll try to mail out bless me because the word choice isn't going to be perfect. But one of my disappointments with the How to Eat to Live was that I feel like I did not get the science side with the know-how. It just says what it is, what to do. And that part for me was a struggle because I'm like, why do I eat these onions? Why these garlics? Why are the onions and garlic so we can eat unlimited with and other vegetables that you say eat sparingly, such as spinach? Spinach is green, it's supposed to be rough rich, but it also has a lot of iron. And then through the extra additional research, then you know why you probably shouldn't have an excess of iron in your body. But that required more learning. I kind of going to get it all in the book, which is crazy because really, even though I had read part 2, I guess I wasn't internalizing part 2. And then when you read part 2, it actually kind of in the first opening chapters says, you guys write me letters all the time asking for specifics and details. And the fact of the matter is just eat at the same time every day and try to eat with those gaps. Eat similar foods too, lessen the variety. And you really don't need as much as you think that you do, because in the later part, he also says, Allah gave us this version of how to eat to live for us in America. Whereas in other countries, they might not necessarily need a Navy. They might have other food. And we know definitely, for those that study a little bit, other continents have different foods. Like not everybody has access to grapes. And little fun fact, America doesn't actually grow bananas. We get those imported. And so technically we wouldn't even really have bananas if it wasn't for the import. So it is going to be personalized. And that's just one of the beautiful things about Allah, and that's why Muhammad in his travels, that he does have something tailored for each nation. And that's why he's the best God ever. Now, my second testimony is I went to one of the nation's events, I want to say 2-3 years ago, at one of the farms, and they brought a whole bunch of people. It was in Villa Rica at Brother Ghazi's farm, and they did an event. One of the ones I went to was the survival class because I've always been a fanatic about certain survival things, outdoors, hunting and fire, things like that. Even though I've never actually been hunting because it don't make sense to me. Why would I kill this animal and then do nothing with it? So it's kind of stupid, but I like the idea of it. Well, we could just shoot the targets, but it is nice to shoot something that moves. Anyways, though, at the event, there was a brother there who was on the show. And what's that one of the crazy shows like Man vs. Wild? But it was like the next one of the spinoff shows. And it's when you are, I think it was Naked and Afraid or something, where you're 21 days in the wild. And so one of the fun parts about the How to Eat to Live is that he said that you go an extended time without eating, right? You will start to, he said, like Mom said, he started to hear the ants and rats in the walls and things like that. And I'm born into this, but I also am just a regular person too. So I'm suspicious of that type of stuff. I say, okay, sounds nice. I'd also like to hear rats and stuff in the wall. Hello, there was a brother there, and he said it around the same time too. When you read the book, he says it normally around, I want to say 10 to 14 days. So the brother, during his testimony of his survival class, said the same thing. He says, and he wasn't, He wasn't in the nation at all. He's actually in North Carolina, and he teaches the class and stuff because he's from the military and all that stuff. But he said, one of the questions we asked him, because we had teachers, was like, hey, you said earlier that you could smell when the producers and stuff like that was eating and what they ate, even though because of the show and the nature of it, to stay true to it, they didn't give them no food. Y'all had to go kill what you were going to eat and boil the water that you're going to drink, but the crew out of consideration and just also safety, because if a person don't eat, they will kill. So they would have to drive miles away, eat, cook, do all that stuff, because the crew didn't sign up for that part. They just signed up to take videos. But when they came back, he said, I could always smell what they had, sometimes down to the season. I said, that's interesting. So I said, brother, at what point could you smell it? Because he said you could smell it out of their pores. Because once he told them, they would, do what they can to dispose of it, but he could still smell it out of their pores. I said, at what point did you hear that? He said, after 10 days, 10 to 14 days, I could start to smell what they had, and also I could hear the ants crawling on the woods and like on the stuff that was in the woods. I'm like, wow. And I know he wasn't lying. Other people, they might have thought he was exaggerating, but because I first heard it from the teachers, I know that's the truth. So that's just another person's testimony that I had not experienced that, but it is comforting and scary to know that if you go 10 days, which I really want to say on minimal water and definitely no food, what unlocks in the morning? Because it could be healthy, but
Let me say this. The brother who got me involved in how to eat to live in this way, from Hassan Muhammad, Albany, York, right now. Brother, we used to experiment with fasting.
That's something.
Brother, when I tell you that is the absolute truth, that you can hear, your senses get so sensitive.
Animal like.
Oh, brother.
Animal.
Your senses get very sensitive if you do not. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in the book, he does not suggest long fasting.
Absolutely.
Do the short 3-day national fast, and that should be good enough to get you through. But when you begin to get so sensitive, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the when you fast for a long time, you don't want to be around people because you can feel their energies. You'll get irritated easily by our people and their condition because you don't fast so much that you're so pure that you get irritated by your own people. So I'm gonna tell you, brothers and sisters, just start out slow.
Yeah.
Do that national fast.
Don't hurt yourself.
If you have an acute situation and it calls for more fasting, consult with somebody who has more wisdom than I. But I wanted to bear witness to that. And I'm also a hunter. And did you know?
Yes, sir.
Did you know that that's how in the wild animals they hunt each other based off of that? If a deer eats a certain food, then the lion does not necessarily have to hunt the deer. It can wait for the flatulence of the deer and find where the deer is going.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's a science too.
I did know that only because of the water. So how they say sharks can sense fear? Turns out that's actually true. And because you would think that fear doesn't have a smell, but it's really not that. Fear has its own marker. It's the hormone. And so however Allah put that together, he got certain animals that are triggered by fear, which is why it helps be a part of 10,000 feelings.
Come on now.
That's the shameless plug. Has no fear. Has no fear,
It's science to that.
It's a crazy science. And I'll just say one thing, we'll let them do their testimony, but you're absolutely right about the whole temperament thing, because it goes right back to the animals for me. Most animals do not have the privilege or blessing of eating every single day. Right. Ones that do, technically, if you look at it, are kind of the domesticated animals, which are generally weaker. You want certain, even yard dogs, they don't even feed them every day. That's an every other day thing. And some people say, well, you're starving for abusing your dog, but that's absolute must on certain things. Even certain horses. I thought that was interesting. Certain horses, you don't actually feed it every day, even though they don't even eat it. It's just whatever you're trying to get out of an animal, you kind of feed it according to that diet that you need to respond to. And if we around each other and we not eating, well, shit. You better put your guards up. Put your guards up.
Right.
Well, I'll say this about how to live. A good example to me, when I first came into the nation, I didn't fell off my how to live, and I'm struggling, fighting, trying to get back to where I should be. But I remember when I was like about 21, and we had a training unit together in Cali with Brother Sabir. Now, when I first started training with Brother Sabir, he may have been 52. He was in his 50s. He was 52, anywhere from 50 to maybe 50. And the majority of the people who trained with him, the majority of us, we were under 20, or right in our early 20s down to our teens. And we would train early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And we would train from 5. We were supposed to go from 5 to 12. But we ended up staying later than that. We didn't have no jobs, we were somewhere, but we used to train. I mean, we did that for some years, but we would train. For one portion of our training at the end, we would go run. And when we come back from running, we ran something called Agony Hill. It was a doggone hill going through neighborhood and just climbed. It climbed. I mean, like, damn, when is the hill gonna stop? But when we came back down, as we got ready close to our cars, we would do a race. Now, it was about 20 to 25 of us. Now, the majority of us was under 20, I would say under 22. Brother Sabir was probably 52. About 25 of us take off running. He always ended up in the top 5 at 52. He was smoking people that was teenagers. And that was because of his eating. Right. He ate, he was still eating 1 meal a day. You used to hit his stomach. You probably still gonna hit his stomach and it sound like this. Sound like wood. I used to call him the embalming fluid stomach.
That was the worst 8-pack I ever seen.
Yeah, so
a real 8-pack.
So his discipline was good to have in front of men, because you see somebody not telling you to do something, but doing it right along with you. So that's what helped to fuel us. So when we look and we see a brother that's old enough to be, if he's watching this, he's probably gonna say something to me later on, but I'm gonna say it anyway. He's old enough to be some of our grandfathers. Right. Not just fathers, but our grandfathers. And he would say, we're gonna do 100 push-ups. He right there doing 100 push-ups. We're gonna do 100 sit-ups. He's doing 100 sit-ups. We're gonna go run this mile. He always get upset with me because I forgot that he wasn't running like we were still running. When he left and came to, he was working with Wesley Snipes, but he came back to Cali one time and we were training, and I kept the training going. And at this time, we had elevated our training. We were running 5 miles. Now, he hadn't run 5 miles with us. He ran Agony Hill. And he may have ran a mile or 2 miles with us, but he had never ran that 5-mile track. I think he was probably like close to 60 then. But we took off and we were running. We ran. We wasn't trying. We ran 5 miles. And he ran the whole way. He said, he tells a story. He said he was about to stop and somebody said, man, the cars are right there. And he said, oh, he picked it up and he finished. But the point is that Brother Sabir at his age, and those of us who are in the nation now, we got young brothers coming up. They have to see a non-quit in us. In order for them to develop into the type of men and women that they're supposed to be, they got to see a non-quit. He wouldn't quit. Regardless of how bad it hurt him, he wouldn't quit. And you can only get that type of mentality through how to eat to live. Right. See, when you discipline your stomach, you can discipline everything else. Right. And because he does so well and had done so well with how to eat to live, those of us who trained with him back when we were in the height of everything, we would look back and say, man, he's a good example for us, because how can he be older than us and outdoing us? So, I'm fighting now to get back to where I need to be. because they never, when they saw me, they ain't see me at my top.
Right.
At least they can't remember because they were young and all that stuff. But now that they old, they talk their little stuff, pop to put on a little weight. But I still throw them things. But I'm saying,
hey, I'm a father. I get stuff. I get it, brother.
And
your best day today,
that's it. It's still some things that I still cheat because the object is to win. Brother Sibi always saying, ain't no such thing as fair fight.
Right.
He said the object is to win. And the police have a thing. I go out today, I'm coming back home. Mm-hmm. And that's the mentality in which the FOI have to have. The FOI has to have the mentality that regardless of what this enemy brings to us, we will be the winners because Master Prophet Muhammad is blessing us. Right. So we will be the winners. I don't like to say living or dead. We're going to be the winners living. Let their ass die.
Come on. Right.
And we're going to be the winners.
See, this is okay. This is why we do it. This is why we do it, because what we're trying to do, Brother Reed, is we're trying to encourage the nation, defibrillate the nation as it relates to how to eat to live, get us back, because in order to make a God, just as when Yaqub was making the devil, he said he had to start with a healthy person. Mm-hmm. You got to start with a healthy person. The teachings, I don't care how much of this you read, like you said, you can't even really comprehend it if you're not eating properly. If your body's full of filth, you can't even comprehend and process it. So we have to encourage this next generation as well as ourselves to get back on our square. And this is why we're having the real talk. So people can come and share their experience. That's why I always ask for a testimony. Because we think that, since we got these books, that we got these teachings. And that's not necessarily so. You know what I'm saying? We have to encourage the brotherhood. The answer, well, we always say this in FYI, the answer is in the brotherhood. And this and creating a space where we can come, we can be real, and that's we have real talk about how to eat and live. We're gonna do that. We're gonna inspire this nation to get back to how to eat to live, so that we can be the example that Master Muhammad came to, and now what people can see. It's hard, but it works. It's hard, but it works. If we want to live longer, we got to do what it takes to prolong life.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's what we do, man. That's what we do. Now we here for the long haul. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a break, and I'm gonna show these guys. I think I'm gonna just like beat them up a little bit. And no. We're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we'll finish this discussion.
When I met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I met a man issuing a call to black people to come to Islam, to come not to join a religion, but to come to that which is yours by nature, that was taken from us when our fathers were brought forcibly to these shores over 400 years ago. Islam is the very power that we need to overcome our enemies, to master ourselves, and to master the circumstances that up to this point have mastered us. Islam is light, it is life, it is power. It is the sun of law and truth and righteousness. Islam is everything, sun, moon, and star. Nothing escapes the purview of Islam. So when we say that we have accepted Islam, we have accepted our nature, we have accepted the nature of God, we have accepted truth in its broadest dimension, we have accepted law and righteous principle, and we say that we accept it because we intend to conform, to mold and shape our lives according to the truth. And if we do that, those who heed the call of God coming through the prophet or messenger or apostle, they generally avoid the destruction intended for the rejectors and the wicked. The reason I have them around me is to make a statement that women are no longer to be shut off and shut up and held back and denied what God has put in them. The woman must be elevated or the nation will never come out. A nation can rise no higher than its woman. So let's lift the woman up. And sisters, if you've got the intelligence, come on and put it to work. And let the men follow you till they can develop the intelligence to lead.
Careless lifestyles are killing us in droves across all ages. The merchants of death dump filth daily into our communities, and we put it into our bodies. It is best to make the most of this life and empower ourselves through healthful living. Let me share my thoughts with you on this special video. Call now to order.
Get Farrakhan's program for better health and the story behind his bout with cancer. To order, call now.
312-602-1230.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so, I'm hands-on. After I done beat everybody up in here, I just want to show our listening community how I did. So what we're going to do, we're going to do an example or an exhibition on some techniques. Brothers, y'all come on in and show the people what we got going on.
All right, so okay, we're gonna go first. Hey, okay, cool. So we're gonna do just a simple technique, something that anybody should be able to do. We gear these. We're gonna try to gear this particular one for mostly for women and older people. Something that doesn't take a whole lot of energy, and you don't got to be trying to lift a big man like this up off of you. So we're gonna do just a straightforward choke as the first technique we're gonna do real quick. So come in here. We're gonna come, and we're gonna have him come. We're gonna have him come at it the way that somebody would come at it. He's gonna come aggressive, and we're gonna show what we're doing here. You're gonna take it, and you're coming up here across on the wrist. What you got? Man, we're turning this way. You're coming up here across on the wrist, because no matter how strong anybody is, no matter how much iron they pump, they ain't never gonna go no muscle in their wrist. All right, so you're taking it up here across, and you tapping it here into the groin. Then you're gonna bring it up. You're gonna step out. Well, if you want to drop that low, then you can help them out. Boom, with the hip. And then drop it out, and you can head on out. One more time. Here, into the groin. Taking it up with the elbow. I step out there, send the kick, set it on the way. And so it's about creation, because this is a science, so it's ever evolving. And the body speaks a language. And so the body speaks a language of pain. So regardless of whatever the body is telling you to do, you take what it gives you and you create on it. Everything might not work the exact way how you practiced it, if you will, is going off of what the person gives you from the language that you made them speak of pain, and then you just keep on giving them that language to speak. One more time, just in quick motion now. Absolutely. You already know what's coming. I don't know what's coming. Go ahead. Taking it out. All right, you explain the next technique.
How's this? All right, so this one is mainly if somebody gonna come up on you, rope you, do all types of foul manner things to you, and start off with a choke. Once they go ahead and choke you, the idea of this is still towards women. Make sure you just something real simple, get in and get out, and go home. Especially for people that don't really got no training, but maybe want to do something real quick or learn something real quick in the event of a count, really, if you're coming behind somebody. So he's gonna choke me from the back. We're gonna do a quick choke me from the back. Again, men are strong as hell, so we're not gonna be trying to fight all of their muscles. We're actually, again, going to continue to speak the language of the body, go with it, but remember that the body also speaks the language of pain. So we're gonna go with the motion that's presented to us, and then we're gonna get out. From here, you're not gonna go down, because that's definitely gonna tighten his grip. The main thing is to, again, gear that women. We're getting our behind out the way. We ain't trying to get no unnecessary pleasure. Unearned, we're going right to the testicles. For training purposes, we always tap the thigh, but in reality, we would go right to his groin. So we tap it. From there, we have added it. But again, it still speaks, the body speaks the language of pain. You want to take that fist, take the best possible angle. I mean, it don't get no better than this right here. You want to get your angle to your height, no matter how tall it is. I swear to God, if he was a taller person, like our brother over there, and we get him, it's always going to drop because you're always going to go to the fetal position. That's what's most natural. Once you line it up, you take it, and you get it right up at it. Because you go home. You don't have to go ahead and stump and all that other stuff. The main thing is to just get out of it. So again, you choked me. You're in shock for a second, but this is happening. You're getting out right to his groin. From there, I'm just getting my nice little angle. I'm getting out of there. And I'm going. Okay. Any questions?
No. Any questions? Let's see more. I want to see.
All right, let's see more real quick. All right, so real quick, I want to go over this earlier one, right? Just because I really want to make sure all the women understand why this is effective. So this is his arms. He's a very strong guy. Go ahead, put the choke. Sounds a good choke. Now, remember, the man is strong. He does all of this lifting. The wrist can never develop muscles. It just don't happen. When you do this, ladies, please, do not give up the butt. Let me show you what that looks like. Go ahead. And they just give up the butt. I mean, you're really not out of it. But what you want to do is raise it. Call on a lot. When you call on a lot, raise that hand up and turn. Do you see how it just automatically breaks it? And now, sister, I really want you to get the neck portion up. This is where it gets real technical. You ready? Watch this. All right. He got me. It's real tight. You raise it to a line and you play it. You see that? That alone breaks it. You got it?
Yes, sir.
That alone. I went to my ear, shoulder to my ear, raised it, and I turned. From there, it's already over.
The tighter he holds it,
Yeah. The tighter,
the harder it's gonna hurt his more it's gonna hurt his wrist.
Do you understand that? So if the person really, really wants to get you, all you're doing is using his strength, I guess. The tighter he gets me, I raise it to my ear, and he's actually not thinking this. This really does hurt because that's just the way the wrist goes. You tighten it up, you up out of there, and then it comes through. I haven't already got his wrist, so I'm gonna show you one more time. This is the key. The key is just to get out of it. Go ahead. I've caused him pain already. The way his wrist is bent. I'm out of it. I'm out. And then from there, you gotta cause him pain. Remember, this guy came up on you. You can step out. There's so many. I mean, his body's just so many targets. But you take it, send it right to his nose, wherever you want to get him. If he turns, you take the jump. Don't let him get out of this. Go ahead, send it, and then get up out of it. Go home. Okay? Go another one. I'm gonna give you the place. Yeah, okay.
What if they get you on the ground?
Stay left. All right. With this.
How we doing? We doing
Between
over this way.
Yeah, over. No.
Okay.
All right. This section good one. So we're gonna do two. All right. If they over and they up like this, again, mainly focusing these techniques on women. Men can do these too. You got the testicles all times. So you can still try to go ahead and get me. Just like that. Actually, the technique works the same, but you're still gonna get the testicles. Watch this. I take it. I still clamp it, because again, the wrist is still wrist. The body ain't changed. I'm out of there. Now I can take it right back. I want you to watch the pivot on my shoulders. Ready? Take it, still reaching to a line. Not up like that, because I'm dead. Still reaching. I clamp it. I'm out. I take my next loose hand. There's so many opportunities. But we're still going to focus on just the testicles. And the pivot, the power, the torque is going to be in my shoulders. So once I rotate back to my shoulders, I'm still sitting there at the same time. And then from there, you can take it, smash him right there. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's my brother. But once he drops, he's going to drop. Reach. And just take him. That makes sense so far?
Yes, sir.
I'll show you one more.
Yeah. No, so you want okay. You know, I mean, this thing goes. It's a water language. That's the beauty of it. So there's always more creativity. There is no one target. It's really unlimited amount of targets. But the more you train, you have more opportunity, more weapons in your arsenal. Go ahead and shoot.
You always see 4 targets at
one time.
Always 4 targets.
All right, so this one we're gonna do. What you need now? Now this one is kind of more realistic. This puts you at an ultimate vulnerable position. You don't want to necessarily do that. That's not going to work on a muscular guy. When you're going up, doesn't exactly work on a muscular guy. Ribs and all that stuff. Ribs don't exactly get muscles, but the obliques itself and the ribs can be trained to take impact. They seriously can be trained to take impact. So even doing that stuff doesn't exactly work. We could teach you about the solar plex. Likelihood of you getting that specific place with no training, slim to none. So what I would do in this instance is to recognize you still have unadulterated access to the groin. I mean, it's always there. But because, well, I don't want to go that way. I'm still saying the groin, but this groin is to get to a greater target, which is the eyes. Now, some people have long arms, like most men. If they got long arms, I'm just going to, and then fake it, like you get it.
Oh, like I'm joking.
Yeah, but stay right there. Now I can't reach oh boy, but that's like his like LeBron's arms to me. I couldn't reach LeBron or Shaq's arms. I couldn't do it. But it still doesn't matter because they're this close. We just go ahead and take it. I mean, and when I say take it, you about to beat it all the way down. So you about to go rapid fire. You just, I mean, I don't even want to hurt this man, but I'm gonna just get right here. All right. No. You ready? You ready? And you just get it. Once you go, you get these eyes and you send it right to God. Send it right to God until you get up. And you press it. And I mean, really press it. You got that one so far? It's not too bloody for you?
No.
All right. I'm going to show you again real quick. And again, you're not no sissified, woe is me. Let me just go. You stop it, you bad man. You bad man. Yeah. You take these, you ball them up. You say Allahu Akbar, and you want to still pivot on these shoulders. This is what it looks like. It's a rotation, not a one-off. It's just a circle, just a circle. So now when they owe you, and you're like, oh, and they got you, and you're there with it. Okay, make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Groin and the eye.
Not his stomach. Only hit the stomach. That's perfect. We doing to the groin.
Even if you don't go down, even if you don't punch the groin, all men know they didn't slip off their bicycle and all the other stuff, and that'll hurt. If you get your hand full, just from there, just get your hand full and snatch.
Yeah,
that's gonna make him loosen up. And this snatch right here will make him loosen up. And you don't tie both of your hands up. You got this, keep it going. You got other hand for the eyes. And when you stick for his eyes, you're trying to push your thumb all the way to the back of his head.
Yeah, don't just meet it there.
Yeah, you're not just poking here. You poking your nail through his eyes back. Or yeah, they may say that's a little violent, but hell,
I'm trying to wear it like a glove.
I don't fight my friends.
Right.
I don't fight my family. Anybody I got to get in a fight with, there's an enemy.
Yes, sir.
So my job is to go home, and their job is to go to the morgue.
And I don't know why people start that's a little violent part at your defense. It started off a little violent.
Right.
We done already passed. That's a little violent. Now it's time to increase the violence so we can get to the peace at home. So absolutely.
You know, it's funny. They got a general that they teach you about in American history, and I forgot his exact name, but I want to say it's Alexander, General Alexander, from Virginia. And his philosophy was the fastest way to get war over is to get dirtiest the faster. So you have to take all civility out if you want to end the war as soon as possible. Your technique.
Oh no, that was, I think,
All right.
I want to say thank you. And I want to say to our listening audience that this is real. This is How to Eat to Live is not just eating. How to Eat to Live is living. At the end of the day, the food ain't the only thing that we got to be focused on. We got to be focused on survival. And we know, like I said, that Master Prophet Muhammad is the architect of Armageddon. So as it begins to heat up, get soldiers serious about your diet and get soldiers serious about protecting yourself and your family. So I want to thank you, brother, so much. And one day we're gonna have to do a 10,000 Fearless training session, and y'all come in and we feel the flow with you folks,
right.
man. We feel the flow with you folks, and like I say, we want to give you your flowers. We definitely got to give C. Joe Sabir Muhammad his flowers while he lived, because he is definitely a God gift to us. And we'd like to thank and appreciate our student regional minister, Abdul Sharif Muhammad, and the national director of the 10,000 Fearless. We want to say thank you, and we appreciate you. We want to say we can never thank Allah enough for Masfar Muhammad coming, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Man, come on, let go be somebody else.